Hi there. This is Annette Bridges. I am an author, publisher, and women's retreat host. One of the questions that I get asked most often is, how in the heck do you write a book? How do you go about publishing a book? But mostly it's about, how do you write the book? How do you come up with ideas and whatever? I tell you what, if I can hardly believe that I've been writing and publishing books for 4 years, and I now have 8 books published, which seems crazy when I say that. And just thinking about it. But when I look at what I've done, so basically I have 3 nonfiction short story collection books that are for women. I have an adult coloring book. I have a hardcover quote book, also more for adults than anyone else. I have a children's coloring storybook, a children's cookbook, and a children's journal. And there have been specific reasons why each of these have evolved, but I'll focus on, for this video, how you go about publishing and writing a nonfiction book, because that's what my 3 books for women are, or the nonfiction books are. So, I can tell you that each of those books, in my case, they all began as a journal entry. I'm a big journal writer and keeper. I write in my journal all the time, throughout the day, every day. I have something with me that I can write my inspirations and ideas on, or questions, whatever it is. Whether it's in my journal, that's a paper journal that I keep with me. I've got so many. It's like I meant to have these sitting here to just hold up for show you, but y'all know what journals are. But I have a lot of different types of journals. So, I keep it with me on my desk. I keep them in my car, or by my bed, by my bathtub. Sometimes if I don't have something with me, which is rare, and I'm on my phone with me, then I'll use the notes, and I'll dictate into notes with my phone, or type into it, whatever. So I just always have something with me to write those inspiration ideas when they come, because I don't want to miss it. I don't want it to fly away. I'm going to get it down. So I write down everything. And when I started writing, I started writing short stories and essays and columns for newspapers and magazines and guest blogs, websites, whatever. And so they were, little short story lengths. And I did that for about 10 years in terms of publishing my writing. I've been journal keeping my whole life. So when I started writing and getting ideas for even those short stories, I was looking at my journal entries and where I could elaborate a lot more and turn it into a story. And anyway, so that's my, journal entries, journals, my journaling of ideas. And then I did short stories first. And then after a decade of doing that, I had 400 columns or so of these short stories, and had a bad health situation and a surgery and scary kind of time where I kind of had to halt doing I was doing a weekly column basically at the time. And so during my recovery of all that, I reread all of those columns and short stories, and I all of a sudden was seeing connecting dots and seeing a pattern of themes that I didn't even realize was happening when I was in the midst of doing it all those years. So I kind of made all these stacks of all these short stories, and I started making notes of what I thought the themes were, and I started imagining how I might group these into collections of books that I, would edit and reformat and create these books. And I saw a gal that I knew a little bit on Facebook, and she was a publishing consultant, and did a lot of marketing things and so forth. And I contacted her, and I ended up engaging her services. And she read for the first time all of my columns, and kind of helped me come to my consensus on how I might group these into a series of books. So I ended up hiring her, and then she got me in with an editor, because I was going to need an editor to work with me. And long story short of it, that led to three books. I have more that I plan to publish, actually, because I think we came up with 6 or 7, possible ways of grouping all these columns. And so anyway, but I eventually needed an illustrator from some other types of books that I did, that and a graphic designer that I've worked with separately, and between the illustrator and the graphic designer, I still work with them. I still work with a publishing consultant, especially when it comes to, I self-publish. I have my own publishing house now, Ranch House Press, but basically I have a team of people that, and they're all women, like working with women, I guess, that help me, get the process. But the big bottom line, ladies, that I would share with you, or men too, whoever's listening, yes, my book publishing requires a team, but it's not so scary. Doesn't have to be super costly. Depends on if you're adding, how much color and photos and graphics that you're adding to the interiors. But the big bottom line is, I was going to say, all of your writing that you do, it just begins with an idea. So if you're thinking you'd like to write a book, journal. Keep your journal with you all the time. As ideas, phrases, words, lines, paragraphs, whatever comes to you, write it down. Don't question it. Don't think about it. Don't overthink. Don't wonder, how the heck's this going to fit into some book? Don't worry about that, because you don't know. You may have 5 books brewing around in your head, and you look back at your journal and entries, and you go from there. So just start with your journals, writing your ideas down, whatever comes to you, and then you will see how a story just may develop there. I think it will. Everyone has a story. We all have stories, and nonfiction writing it's your life. It's your stories, your experiences, your insights, and what you're learning. So there you go. The story will develop. Your story will develop as naturally as your life is happening day by day. Well, I hope that's helpful. We'll talk to you later. Bye.